Coming up, lawmakers are looking to make changes to Kentucky's food stamp program, but it's getting some pushback.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A Senate committee heard discussion today about a bill involving the state's food assistance program called SNAP. Some want to change requirements for receiving the help. As Jessica Umbro reports, the bill is getting some pushback.
Today was just a good day to get the bill out there, present it, have some discussion, and to hear from all groups in terms of both sides of the bill.
The Senate Standing Committee on Economic Development, Tourism, and Labor heard arguments from both sides on House Bill 367, which in part seeks to limit loopholes in the food assistance program SNAP.
House Bill 367 makes a reasonable checks as to federal law to make sure that we have enough resources available for the truly needy.
Representative and sponsor Wade Williams says some take advantage of the program when they are not actually in need of assistance. He says the bill would eliminate loopholes such as not allowing for the Cabinet for Health and Family Services to provide exemptions from gross income requirements or providing waivers of work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents.
You literally could have $1 million in the bank and still draw food stamps.
House Bill 367 did not receive a vote from the committee, despite two other bills receiving one in the same meeting. And a lack of a vote led for committee members to express their concerns about the bill before deciding whether or not to pass it.
What I don't see in there is for all the people this would affect that are currently on there, a transition period for them.
I think you could always expect some leakage with social programs. You're going to have that.
Senator Wise says he can't guarantee when the committee will discuss the bill again, but says the meeting was a productive step for the ongoing discussion.
It was a good day to at least get the bill out there and have some discussion. A lot of times when you do that, it moves easier through the process.
In Frankfort, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
House Bill 367 already passed the House by a vote of 61 to 33. A Senate committee will have to vote on it before it heads to the full Senate. How to give teachers a raise is still being discussed in Frankfort. House Bill 694 was recently introduced by sponsor State Representative Chris Fugate of Perry County. He says the bill would provide a one-time payment of $2,000 to certified employees, excluding superintendents, and it would give a one-time payment of $1,000 to classified employees. Fugate adds that he knows this is a short-term solution and still a lot of work needs to be done.
We've got a lot of work to do. We'll do the workforce on the SEEK formula to see if it can be revamped to push more money to rural districts. And then we'll just keep working on House Bill 694 to see if we can get it across the finish line and get the teachers and other employees, bus drivers, janitors, cooks, and all those, some type of relief.
If House Bill 694 passes, it would support school staff with that one-time payment 2 years in a row, ending in 2026. In the Senate Education Committee, lawmakers approved a bill that addresses school safety. Senate Bill 2 would allow for guardians, that would include honorably discharged veterans or retired state troopers and federal law enforcement agents, to patrol schools. The bill now heads to the full Senate. A bill regulating adult businesses and sexual performances has cleared a Senate panel. Senate Bill 147 says adult-oriented bookstores, theaters, and other places where performances take place have to be at least a city block's distance, or 933 feet, from parks, libraries, schools, daycares, and other places a lot of children would be. Supporters say statewide regulation is needed to protect kids. Opponents say it's an attack on the drag queen art form and the LGBTQ community. The bill passed 9-2 in committee and now goes to the full Senate.
We are tracking some cold conditions as we close out the month of February. Also close out your Thursday. Some of us already below freezing in this hour. Let's take a look at those temperatures. We're down to 27 degrees over in Irvin for Estill County, down to 29 over in Southwest Virginia for Clintwood, 36 in Jackson, 33 over in London. Most of us are close to or below freezing as you wake up on Friday. Up on first alert pinpoint Doppler, all thanks to high pressure. We are dry because of the dry weather, also the clear skies. Those lows lows are going to be very cold as you wake up on Friday. And again, most of us wake up close to or below freezing in the upper 20s to lower 30s across the region. So be sure to pack the jacket as you wake up and walk out the door. You also need the umbrella at times on Friday, all thanks to that next rainmaker. As we zoom out, you can see we're tracking that rain over portions of Arkansas into Oklahoma, also Missouri, and that weather system is pushing into our direction. So be sure to pack the umbrella and the rain jacket as more showers are possible on Friday. Not going to rain all day, but you will see a few showers at times. Also cooler conditions on Friday. Temperatures top out in the upper 40s and lower 50s. But some 60s and 70s are possible by this weekend. Those details on the way in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Former Floyd County educator April Bradford was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison today. Bradford pleaded guilty to sexual assault charges back in November. She sexually assaulted Jessica Hensley and Mary Prater when they were students. Hensley and Prater gave victim impact statements. Hensley told us the healing process has had its ups and downs since.
Healing looks different to everyone, and it's definitely not linear like I had spoken about. I wax and wane with how well I do. But yeah, just always speak on what's right.
Bradford was also added to the sex offender registry. She has to serve 85% of her sentence before being eligible for parole. A grand jury indicted 2 women in Powell County in connection to a death investigation. Back on December 1st, deputies responded to a call and found a woman dead. Through investigation, they found that Deborah Wade and Mary Watkins were responsible. A grand jury indicted the 2. Wade is in jail facing wanton endangerment and trafficking charges. Police have not yet arrested Watkins. Hundreds gathered to say a final goodbye to former London Police Chief Bill Smith. Smith's impact in the community dates back several decades. In 1977, he founded Ambulance Incorporated of Laurel County and helped start the 911 Center. During his tenure with the police department, he helped launch the DARE program in schools while also winning several awards. Hobie Doherty with the London Police Department says they will continue to honor Smith in any way they can.
And as the ambulance service has behind me a silhouette of Chief Bill Smith, it'll be a constant reminder of his legacy that is going to be cherished for many years and definitely not ever forgotten. He'll definitely be remembered for as long as we can make that happen.
For his last ride, Smith was put in one of the first ambulances used by the ambulance service nearly 50 years ago. Congress has passed another short-term spending measure that would keep one set of federal agencies operating through March 8th and another set through March 22nd. The extension averts a shutdown for parts of the federal government that would otherwise have kicked in early this Saturday. The bill now goes to President Joe Biden to be signed into law. The short-term extension is the 4th in recent months. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump were both at the southern U.S. border today. Border policy is shaping up to be a key factor in the 2024 race for president. WYMT Washington News Bureau correspondent Brendan Cullerton shares the message from both candidates.
It's a showdown at the border in the race for the White House. As President Joe Biden works to revamp border policy, Donald Trump slams him on immigration.
Biden went to the Supreme Court.
Up first in the presidential border debate, Donald Trump. After touring the border city of Eagle Pass with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, the former president pinned record immigration squarely on the shoulders of the current president.
This is a Joe Biden invasion. This is a Biden invasion over the past 3 years. I call him Crooked Joe because he's crooked. He's a terrible president, the worst president our country's ever had.
Trump has made immigration policy a central focus of his 2024 campaign. He says lax border policy leads to drug smuggling and increased crime.
Crooked Joe is the blood of countless innocent victims. It's so many stories to tell, so many horrible stories.
Just moments after Trump's speech, Biden took to the podium in Brownsville, Texas. Biden also met with Border Patrol agents and says he's been pushing for new border policy that requires funding from Congress.
They desperately need more resources. They need more agents, more officers, more judges, more equipment in order to secure our border. Folks, it's time for us to move on this.
Biden spoke to Trump directly, saying the former president's opposition to a bipartisan border compromise is responsible for it stalling out in the House.
The majority of Democrats and Republicans in both houses support this legislation until someone came along and said, don't do that, it'll benefit the incumbent. That's a hell of a way to do business in America for such a serious problem. We need to act.
Biden is also expected to address the border during the State of the Union next Thursday. In Washington, I'm Brennan Cullerton.
Well, one day after Senator Mitch McConnell announced he would step down as Republican leader later this year, there are questions on Capitol Hill about who will eventually fill that role. Governor Andy Beshear was asked about Senator McConnell's leadership in the Senate earlier today.
He has been in a position of leadership, whether in the minority or the majority, for a significant period of time, and that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time away from your family and your friends and others, so anyone who gives that type of service, we ought to recognize the sacrifice and to say thank you.
The governor credited McConnell for his support of the bipartisan infrastructure law. Beshear said he is, quote, completely and totally ruling out a run for an open Senate seat if that happens in 2026. Senator McConnell says he intends to finish out his term ending in January 2027. A bill that would change the way vacancies are filled is moving forward in the House. This is the State House. House Bill 622 would strip the governor's authority to appoint a replacement U.S. senator should a vacancy occur. Right now, the law requires the governor to appoint the position. The bill would call for a special election to fill the vacancy. It now heads to the full House. Today, Governor Beshear also gave an update on the effort to clean up hazards left behind on Kentucky mine sites. The cleanup started last year when Kentucky was awarded more than $74 million from the federal government's bipartisan infrastructure law. Governor Beshear says those funds are now being used to restore mine land across the state and create a safer, cleaner Kentucky.
These funds are helping us close dangerous mine shafts, reclaim unstable slopes, and improve water quality for our communities and our families.
The governor said today that since the funds were announced last year, the Energy and Environment Cabinet's Division of Abandoned Mine Lands has completed or started work on 38 projects across 15 counties, totaling almost $45 million.
Wildfires have destroyed blocks of homes. I'm Jason Allen in Fritch, Texas, where fire crews are still checking properties across hundreds of square miles.
Plus, pack the umbrella as showers are back by tomorrow. Your Friday forecast coming up.